Hello, hello, my sweet bookish friends. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to a new video and welcome to a new beautiful day. It is holiday reading season. I'm so excited. As much as I don't really like winter, my body doesn't do very good in the cold. I'm actually really excited for winter this year, oddly enough. I don't know if it's just I'm feeling more in the holiday spirit this year, or maybe I'm just excited for it to stop being the chilly, dead, eerie season, and I'm excited for the pretty sparkly snow season. Where I live, there's like a very short period of time where it's like pretty fall and like pretty autumn before it just turns into everything looks just very cold, dark, and dead. And it's very depressing. So very much looking forward to the pretty sparkly snow. As I'm sure everybody else feels this way, but this year has gone by so fast, especially November. I feel like we're already in the middle of November, like that's insane. But since the year and this season is flying by so fast, I thought it would be a really good time to put out my holiday, Christmassy, and winter reads like book recommendations and TBR. A lot of these books are on my TBR because I have not read them yet, but there are some books that I have read that are kind of mixed in that I'm going to be like recommending. I have like actual Christmas reads, so some romance, some fiction, some mystery thrillers, and then I also have just general like winter books, so like winter thrillers, well, mostly like winter thrillers, but there's a little bit of fantasy in there. So yeah, just a fun list of like wintry reads. Starting with my Christmassy book recommendations and books that are on my TBR. The first one I actually have read already, and that is Holiday Romance. This is by Catherine Walsh, and I gave this book 6 stars. It reminds me a lot of like Emily Henry's writing, so if you like Emily Henry, then I feel like you would really like this book. This is Grumpy Sunshine, Friends to Lovers. It follows our main characters Molly and Andrew, and they both live in the same area, but they're also from the same area. So every year around Christmas time, they hop on a flight, which is the same flight, to go back home. At first, they didn't like each other, so I think it is also a little bit enemies to lovers or like rivals to lovers, because at first they didn't really like each other, but then over the years, like they become really, really good friends. And then one year, I think there's a really bad like snowstorm, so all the flights are canceled, but Molly is determined to get Andrew home for Christmas because Andrew's like the Christmas fanatic. He's very festive, and Molly just does not. She's the grumpy part of this situation. I just love this book so much. It was so much fun. The banter was so hilarious. It was so swoon worthy, I guess I would say. I just loved them so much. Like this book is like the Christmas book forever in my heart. Also, sorry if I sound really nasally. I'm still sick. I've been sick for the last couple days, but I feel like I'm kind of on the other side of it now, but my throat's been really sore the last few days, so that has sucked. Anyway, going on to my next Christmas book. Last year I read The Christmas Wager. This one does not have a very good star rating on Goodreads, but I actually really liked it. I gave it a 4-star, I think. I want to say it's kind of small town romance, but if I can remember correctly, this girl goes to this town for some real estate. It's like a business opportunity, and the owner of the shop that's going up for sale, his grandson is like very grumpy towards this girl because he doesn't want them to sell the shop. And so every year around the holidays, their town puts on this like Christmas game thing. So they make a bet that whoever wins the games gets to keep the shop. I just think the whole premise of that is so fun because they're literally like competing for something, but they end up like catching feelings along the way. I just loved it. I ate it up. I thought it was so fun. The next one I have that is actually on my TBR is The Christmas Fix by Lucy Score. This one I've had on my shelves for like 2 years, but I just have not picked it up. So this year I'm determined. This one is Single Dad. I want to say it's Grumpy Sunshine, but I'm not 100% sure. But it follows our main characters, Catalina and Noah. Catalina, I believe, runs like a reality TV like fixer-upper show, and the town that Noah lives in just got hit with a really bad hurricane, so they definitely need some help rebuilding. So I believe Kat goes to this town to help like renovate what was ruined from the storm. She's been to this town before though, and her and Noah just did not rub the right way, except for that time in a dark alley where the rubbing was just right. Can these enemies work together to pull off a Christmas miracle, or will their fighting leave them both on the naughty list? I feel like this might be a little bit smutty, which I'm a little nervous to go into because I don't normally read smut, but because I've had it on my TBR for so long, I feel like I have to read it. The next one that I have is The Plight Before Christmas, and this is also on my TBR. So our main character, Clark, goes to, I believe, their family's cabin for, you know, like a Christmas get-together, but then her family invites her ex from, I believe, a long time ago, because maybe he's like a family friend or something. They invite him to the Christmas get-together, and she is pissed. So she's stuck with the man who obliterated her heart 2 decades ago, and then I believe like old flames spark up again. So I think this is a second chance romance. It sounds hilarious, so I'm definitely in the mood for a good like holiday giggle. I don't have the physical copies of the rest of them, so I'm gonna have to look on my fable. The next one I have, I believe, is kind of like a mix between fiction and a little bit of romance, and that is the Christmas Orphans Club. This one is found family. In the found family, this looks so cute. It's a group of people who are all either orphaned or they're just alone, I guess. And so they spend the holidays together every year. But then one of the friends announces that he's moving to LA. So this Christmas might be their last to spend together. One of our other characters is terrified of losing the family that they've built together. One of our characters has some unsaid feelings for one of the other characters. And the last little line from the synopsis says, "This Christmas, the changes these friends fear may be exactly what they need." So it just sounds very cute. I've heard really good things about it so far, and I love a good found family trope. The next one that I have is the Mistletoe Motive, and this is by Chloe Leese. I believe this is another Grumpy Sunshine. And our two main characters both work at a bookstore, which that already sounds like so much fun. I believe our two main characters don't really get along, but for some reason both of their jobs are on the line, because I think the bookstore can only keep one of them, so they're kind of like fighting each other for the job. And then of course, because this is how all the books work, they end up catching feelings for each other during this whole debacle. It sounds pretty funny. It sounds like a good time. So very excited for that. The next one I'm very excited for, and that is Snowed In by Catherine Walsh, who wrote Holiday Romance. And this one follows, I believe, the male main character's brother in Holiday Romance. I believe it's forced proximity and fake dating. I don't know if they knew each other before this, but one day they bump into each other at a pub. And because I believe they're both getting harped on from like their family and friends for being single, they make a pact to be each other's like partners throughout the holiday season. And then obviously, as we all could have expected, they catch feelings for each other. The next one I have is A Cross-Country Christmas, and this is by Courtney Walsh. There's Catherine and Courtney Walsh. I always get those confused. But this one I believe is brother's best friend. I think forced proximity as well. Maybe Grumpy Sunshine, because our female main character isn't a fan of Christmas, but because her brother and his wife are expecting a baby soon, our main character Lauren decides that she's going to make the road trip to go visit her family for the holidays. But the catch is she is riding there with his best friend Will. Unfortunately for Lauren, she's been trying to forget college baseball coach and childhood crush Will for more than 10 years. She's convinced that people don't change. He's trying to prove to her and himself that he has. On this cross-country road trip, they'll both discover that history doesn't exactly repeat itself, but like any good Christmas carol, it does have a second verse. This just sounds so cute. I'm very excited for it. This is also one that's been on my TBR for a very long time. I also have a Christmas mystery on here, and that is the Mistletoe Mystery by Nita Prose. This is a novella in like the Maid series. Molly Gray has always loved the holidays. When Molly was a child, her Gran went to great lengths to make the season merry and bright, full of cherished traditions. The first few Christmases without Gran were hard on Molly, but this year her beloved boyfriend and fellow festive spirit, Juan Manuel, is intent on making the season Molly's most joyful yet. But when a secret Santa gift exchange at the Regency Grand Hotel raises questions about who Molly can and cannot trust, she dives headfirst into solving her most consequential and personal mystery yet. A heartwarming magical story about the true spirit of the season, the Mistletoe Mystery reminds us that love is the greatest mystery of all. I love The Maid. I love Nita Prose writing, so this one I was very excited for. Next, I have The Christmas Guest by Peter Swanson. This is another Christmas mystery thriller. So this one's about an American art student in London, and she's invited to join her classmates at someone's family's manor house. There's a bunch of secrets that are about to unravel, revealing the seemingly charming English village's grim history. One of the people who's at this house is being investigated by the local police over the recent brutal slaying of a girl from the village. There's a mysterious stranger who haunts the woodland path between Starwood Hall and the local pub. Over 30 years later, the events of that horrific week are revisited along with a diary from that time. What began in a small English village in 1989 reaches its ghostly conclusion in modern-day New York many Christmas seasons later. So I think it's kind of interesting because there's like some things that have been happening in this town, and especially like I think around this house for the last like couple decades, and then something happens and it's finally all concluded in this story. So that sounds very interesting. Now we're kind of moving into the just like general winter themed books, and first we have Hidden in Snow, and this is an adult mystery thriller. The splendor of the Swedish mountains becomes the backdrop for a bone-chilling crime. Our main character takes refuge in her sister's lodge and a Swedish ski resort. The entire village is shaken by the sudden vanishing of a local teenager, and Hannah can't help but investigate. While searching for the missing person, she lands a job with the local police department, where she joins forces with a detective inspector who has been tasked with finding this girl. As sub-zero temperatures drop even further, a treacherous blizzard sweeps towards Air. I think it's called Air. Time is running out. With each new clue, the investigators close in on something far more sinister than either Hannah or Daniel imagined. Discover what it will take to solve a case when the truth can be so easily hidden in the coming storm. So this is like, if you like mystery thrillers that are set in like big snowstorms, this will be a good one. On the topic of books and snowstorms, oh my god, god. Last year around this time, I read Never Lie by Frida McFadden, and that was one of my favorite books that I read last season. It's about this couple who is searching for a new home, and when they're going to look at this new home, a big snowstorm hits and they end up having to take refuge in this vacant home, which ends up being the old residence of this therapist that went missing. So in this house, they end up finding a closet that has old tapes of like all of her sessions with her patients. I can't really say anything else without spoiling things, but it was just so intense, and I think like the whole snowstorm thing definitely made it a lot more like eerie and like isolated, and I just had such a good time with this book. Next we have The Family Game, and this is another adult mystery thriller, and this one actually spans from around Thanksgiving to I think around Christmas time. So it's a great book to read like now until Christmas. And this is about our main character who I believe either recently got engaged, but her future husband's family is kind of estranged. I don't think he really likes to talk about them, and she's never met them, but soon she ends up meeting them, I think like over dinner or something, and his father ends up giving her a tape confessing to some crime. She has no idea what to do with this. There's so many family secrets in this book, and like the holidays element played into this so well, because each year they like play this game throughout the holidays. I don't even know exactly how to explain it like without spoiling things, but it is nothing like what anybody could have expected. So if you like billionaire families with a lot of secrets and weird traditions and drama, you would eat this book up. The next one that I really want to read is These Silent Woods. This one, I don't know how much like winter atmosphere it has, but on the cover at least, it's like a cabin in snow. So I'm like only assuming it's set in the winter time. A father and daughter living off the grid in the Appalachian Mountains face their past in these silent woods. Atmospheric and suspenseful, this survival thriller explores sacrifice and the lengths a father will go to protect his child. It sounds a little spooky, it sounds a little eerie. Honestly, I love reading winter thrillers. I don't know what it is, but I feel like anything that's set in like a snowstorm or in like the winter season just automatically makes it a little bit more intense. And this is also my in-person book club pick, so I'm very excited to get to that. The next little winter thriller that I have is Dead of Winter. A thrilling tale unfolds when Krista and a group of strangers get trapped in a Rocky Mountain cabin by a killer during a snowstorm. Who will survive? A snowstorm sweeps the region and a small group is forced to take shelter in an abandoned hunting cabin. But deep in the night, their tour guide goes missing, only to be discovered the following morning with a very scary scene in front of them. I think this might be a type of book where they get like picked off one by one, but I could be wrong. It sounds terrifying. I think this might be a horror. Yeah. I think it's classified as a horror, which I don't really read horror, so I'm very interested to see if I do read this, how I'll feel. The next one I have is actually a fantasy, and that is Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. It's a fantasy retelling of Rumpelstiltskin. Miriam turns silver into gold, catching the attention of fey creatures that threaten two kingdoms. Captivating and magical is what a little blurb says. So Miriam is a daughter and granddaughter of moneylenders, but her father's inability to collect his debts has left his family on the edge of poverty, until Miriam takes matters into her own hands. She sets out to claim what is owed and soon gains a reputation for being able to turn silver into gold. Something happens and she faces an impossible challenge, and along with two unlikely allies, they uncover a secret that threatens to consume the lands of humans and Sterric alike, which Sterric are grim fey creatures who seem more ice than flesh. So it's just a very like eerie, fun, adventurous type of fantasy wintry read. And then the last two that I have are fantasy and middle grade, and that is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. This I feel like could be a fall or winter read, but because the book is mostly set in winter, I would definitely say I think I would have more fun reading it in winter, but I think I also read it in the fall. So actually maybe I read it in the spring. I don't know, but the setting is very snowy. If you don't know what this is about, this follows our main character Emily Wilde, and she is on a quest to write the first encyclopedia of fairies. So she goes on this quest to go to a specific, I think it's an island or just a certain part of land that is known to have a lot of like fairy sightings, fairy doors, you know, all that kind of stuff. It's found family. It's adorable. The romance in this is so cute because her like academic, I think he's supposed to be like her academic rival, but they're also like kind of friends. It's Grumpy Sunshine. The banter was just so much fun. The found family trope was so much fun. It was so cute, and I just fell in love with this book and this world. And then the last one I have is Green Glass House. This is one that I have not read yet, but it is a wintry middle grade book, and this follows our 12-year-old character Milo, and Milo is the innkeeper's adopted son. He plans to spend the holidays relaxing, but a bunch of people start randomly showing up to this inn. Objects start to go missing. Things are like something weird is going on. So Milo teams up with Medi, who is the cook's daughter, and they must decipher clues and untangle the web of deepening mysteries to discover the truth about Greenglass House and themselves. I've had this for so long. It's been on my TBR for so long, so I just need to read it soon. This might be a January read, but it's definitely on my winter TBR. But yeah, guys, I believe that I know I have like more books on my TBR, but these are just the main ones that I wanted to talk about. And I feel like some of these aren't really talked about that much, so I kind of wanted to give some fresh ideas, I guess. Let me know down below what is on your Christmas and winter TBR, and if you already have a winter / holiday read that you really enjoy, that you think I would really enjoy, definitely drop that down below as well. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video. Mwah!